Namaste and welcome, welcome. This is Connecting with Reverend Kate. I'm Reverend Kate. I like you and I love you. And I tell you that because I want you to hear it over and over again. I am just a reflection of the divine. You are loved, and I like you and I love you. And I want to remind you that I show up here as my authentic self because Swami Muktananda taught me that God dwells within you as you. So please feel free to show up with your authentic self. You're doing your best karma, maybe, when we do that. And the other thing, and we're going to talk about this really, we're going to expand on this today, is that what you seek is seeking you. Such an important teaching. What you seek is seeking you. Now, a lot of people call that the law of attraction, and I'm going to teach you about what Nichiren Buddhism has to say on that principle. So, reminding you that you may email me if you have any questions at all at Connect with Reverend Kate, and my name is spelled like cat with an E, so C-A-T-E, Connect with Reverend Kate at gmail.com. I'm going to invite you to do a parallel practice with me. I'll tell you what I'm chanting for, and then we can do it together. And also, after the discussion portions of our sessions, I'm going to do brief clips on the practice so that you can just look at that to review the practice and not have to listen to the whole thing if you don't want to. So, what you seek is seeking you. I want to introduce you to my first formal spiritual teacher. So that's Ellen. And I met Ellen at the lowest point in my life, and that even lower than when my father died. And she was the most attractive person that I have ever met in every way. And she was very kind to me, and she introduced me to this teaching. And then she left the body early, and she was a young woman. She died of ovarian cancer, and that really sent me sort of headlong into grief. And I remember saying to a friend that she and I had in common, who was also a practitioner, I said, I have a death wish. I don't personally, I've always believed in reincarnation. So for me, checking out was not a choice. But I really was okay, like if something happened, right? Death wish. And my friend Barbara said to me, Barbara Brooks Langston, God bless you, Barbara. She said, listen, the only thing I know to tell you to do is to chant Myoho Renge Kyo. And I did. Now, let me tell you what I just said, because I just rattled it off there. So here it is, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, right? We're going to take that apart, and then I'm going to tell you what it means here with my visual aids, my very professionally done visual aids. So first syllable is Nam. The second, don't run away from me here. The second is Myoho. Myoho, making sure you can see. Renge, Renge, Kyo. And again, the whole thing put together is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Okay, now this comes from the teachings of a 13th century Buddhist monk. And he said, Buddha's great, love him, love his stuff, I'm all in, but really all you need to know is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. What that means is that I am devoted to the universal law of cause and effect. Now, the belief in practitioners of Nichiren Buddhism is that Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is the vibration of the universe. Remember how I said last time that Om is the syllable that is believed by the Hindus to contain all of creation? Well, for Nichiren Buddhists, it's Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And I like to think of it when I'm chanting, it's almost like, so I'll show you. I go fast, you're not going this fast, don't get excited. But when I chant, just to give you a flavor of what that universal vibration feels like. So here we go. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. when I chant that, what I'm doing is I'm kind of sandwiching myself right there in the center of that universal vibration. So I'm devoted to the universal law of cause and effect. Now, there is an organization that's called the Soka Gakkai International. So that's S as in Sam, G as in God, I as in Igloo, SGI. I had very positive experiences with it. I do not, however, endorse organizations. But if you're interested in chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and I would encourage you to at least have the experience once of being in a room full of people chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, it's electrifying. At least that's what I found. Be interested to hear what you found. Feel free to check out SGI. Having said that, if you want a resource that's going to give you a really comprehensive, eloquent, ultimately practical and understandable resource, I suggest this book, The Buddha in Daily Life by Richard Costin. Incidentally, Tina Turner is probably the most famous practitioner of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. She has a lot to say on the subject. There's also a book by Herbie Hancock, The Buddha in Your Mirror. Great book, as well as The Buddha in Daily Life. But the Buddha in Daily Life was really kind of my primary text for this practice. So, background. I was told to chant for something material, something very specific when I started. And I encourage you, if you want to participate with me in a kind of mirror 6-month practice, I'll tell you what I'm chanting for in a moment. I encourage you to make it something material, and here's why. I'll give you my story, and then I'll tell you why it should be something material, if you can. So my story, at the time that I started chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, I was working as a nanny. I was making maybe $100, $150 under the table a week. I was living with my parents, both of whom were, for a lot of different reasons, hemorrhaging money out of their estate to the tune of about $10,000 a month. They had a house that was absolutely full from top to bottom, cellar, garage, shed in the back, and they also needed to separate. So a lot of maximum intensity, right? Very few financial resources. And I said, fine, I'll try it. I want a new car. Make, model, whole thing, specific things that I wanted, great sound system, blah, blah, blah. 5.5 months later, I drove that car off the lot and I said, oh, you have my attention. It was a big, big thing. And the reason that I encourage you to chant for something material is because there's no substitute for the experience of putting my foot on the gas pedal of that car while listening to my music. It just made it viscerally real for me. Now, there are some folks who really don't know what they want to chant for. That's okay. There's room for you too. If you'd like, what I would suggest is that you chant for your happiness. So, other things to tell you about this. Oh, well, so to finish that story, I got the car, and then, I realized I needed to get my parents out from this house, out from under this tremendous burden of debt that they had. I needed to negotiate their separation, which was acrimonious, and I needed to do it at minimal expense and negotiate a move to New England. I did all of that by going Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Okay, so as ever though, I don't want you to take my word for it, because who cares what I say? What matters is your experience. Everything that I offer you is an invitation based on my experience. And if it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, great. I'll share with you this and then we'll conclude, and then I'll do my little soundbite practice. I had the opportunity, my dear friend Maura took me to TD Bank North in Boston to see the Dalai Lama. Now, if you haven't had the experience of watching him talk, I highly recommend it. He is an absolutely delightful human being. He is really and truly a holy man. So I went to hear His Holiness the Dalai Lama speak, and he gave this beautiful, beautiful talk, talked about a lot of things, and then at the end, and you're going to have to forgive my language because I'm quoting His Holiness now. he said this. He said, you know, I've offered you a lot of things here today. There are many different teachings. I would suggest that you try various teachings that I've offered. Try them. See if they work for you. If they work for you, that's great. And if they don't work for you, then fuck it. Now, if the Dalai Lama can say that, right, and get away with it, Reverend Katie can tell you, hey, if it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, find something else. Reach out to me. I am more than happy to connect with you and share ideas. So just to review, again, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, chant universal law of cause and effect. If you cannot find something specific to chant for, oh, and here's what I'm chanting for. So I am chanting for the realization of my long-term disability claim so that I can receive income from the months that I have been out of commission with post-acute COVID syndrome. So that's what I'm doing, and I will keep you posted. And Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and it's time for me to get to the sound practice. I will tell you that the mantra elevates the energy. Remember, mantra can be an energetic language. This also like burns out the seeds of negative karma. It's really powerful, big medicine. But I've said enough. It's time for you to explore. I'm going to make the next tape and I have resources for you, but this is Reverend Kate. Thanks so much for spending this time with me. I really, really like you and I love you and I'm honored by your presence. I want to remind you what Swami Muktananda taught. God dwells within you as you. And of course, to quote Rumi and St. Francis, what you seek is seeking you. So let me be part of your search. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I like you and I love you. Namaste and Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.